because of the overall refusal to recognize this from a materialist framework, the overall refusal to recognize this from an anti-capitalist framework, people would rather believe that like Bill Gates is Jewish because it fits with the Jewish control conspiracies than to fucking recognize that there is no monolithic structure beyond class. And even then there can be obviously traitors of one's class as well. Very few in the billionaire class, obviously very few in the capital owning class, but can happen. Let's continue. We're moving on. We're talking about Kneecap now. Another moment of vindication. Canadian minister acted on his own in banning Kneecap. I know. This is a legal case now, because now that the British case threw out the terrorism, the prescribed terror organization charge, promoting a prescribe terror organization charge, you no longer have any way of barring Kneecap from Canada or even the United States of America. Now, of course, the U.S. is a little different. They're massive dick riders of Israel, even more so than Canada. But it seems like the Canadian ban might not hold. And it was just simply, it seems like a rogue MP or something. Sources inside the PMO office told me that Vince Gasparo, member of parliament for Eglinton Lawrence, parliamentary secretary, went rogue and decided to bar Kneecap. Let's be clear, there's nothing legal about this. There's no official ban for Kneecap from the Canadian government. This is simply based on the whims of my cousin, Vinny Gasparo, who's a big fan of local lackey Adam Lee Wasserman, also known as Lee Stevenson, a.k.a. Chase, on his website. Speaking of Canada, important news, nationwide strike by Canada's postal workers to bring mail. The hogs are turning on each other. I know. The hogs have been going crazy as well. We'll do some hog watch on the Charlie Kirk assassination as well. As you know, it's a let them fight moment for me. But let's take a look.
Following a technical error in the way the charge against him was brought. The 27-year-old, who performs under the stage name Mohara, was accused of displaying a flag in support of the prescribed terror organisation Hezbollah at a concert at the O2 Forum in Kentish Town, North London, in November last year. Well, let's find out more about what was actually said in court, what led to this decision, and we can speak to our culture and media correspondent David.
Bro, let's be real. It's not because of like the charging error and the technicalities. The reality is they went above and beyond. They got tuned up by some of the worst scumbags in the music business, and the same Hasbara operatives went nutty mode, okay? Why did they do that? Because Kneecap went on Coachella the first week and said America and Israel is committing a genocide, which is true, okay? They said a true statement at a music festival. Coachella punished them and changed the tent that they were supposed to perform in the second week, and actually didn't live stream their performance this time. Your boy was there. We live streamed it regardless. And obviously a lot of the footage that came from that showed that they came out with a statement that said, fuck Israel, free Palestine. This made people go crazy. They were like, how dare you do this? How dare you say fuck Israel, free Palestine at a music concert? Remember Nova, remember October 7? And they lost their minds. You got Sharon Osbourne, you got all these like different scumbags, different pro-Israel scumbags losing their fucking minds over it, okay? So they scoured through in the exact same way, that they always do. They scoured through hours and hours of festival footage, concert material to find anything that they could to bring criminal charges. And they urged the British government to take action, okay? For something that these guys did in America, that these fucking dipshits were pissed off about, they urged them to take action in the UK. Because in the UK, there's no First Amendment. And also, there are prescribed organizations. So if you are found like even showing support or anything like that about any prescribed organization, you can be found legally liable. You could actually go to prison for up to 14 years. Okay? The very fact that the British government would even take action against a group of artists, like, or any artist whatsoever, for anything that they've done in a concert is insane. Okay, it is, even in countries that don't have freedom of speech, there's still plenty of room for interpretation because of artistic expression. The UK is no different. Okay, the UK is no different on this. Make no mistake. So the very fact that they had a Hezbollah flag, for example, could still absolutely be protected under artistic expression. So it was already a bullshit criminal case from the start. But in the process, how's your $3 million villa? Aha, very real laugh. Please talk about the assassination. Hasbara is Tero Hassan pro-Israel. How's your $3 million villa? Nice, man. Thanks for asking. This guy hit every line possible. He just glitched. Anyway, so where was I? Oh, they should have never actually fucking brought these charges anyway, but they did regardless, and they knew they had no real case, so they quietly tried to drop it. Obviously, it wasn't going to be quiet anyway, but here we are. Now they're saying, oh, it's on a technicality.
So, David, take us through the legal points that led to this case being thrown out.
In short, they missed the deadline. This is all about a gig, took place at Kentish Town Forum back in November in London. Liam O'Hana, as he was described in court today, to his fans, of course, Mahara, was seen with a...
For those of you who don't know, like, this is a diss as well. Mohara is, like, they're also doing a dig at, like, the Irish way of saying his name, too. This is something that's, like, complicated for me as well. Like, I don't fully know the details, but, like, it's a big part of... It's unironically a big part of why Kneecap is what they are for the Irish folk in general, is that their goal is to restore the Irish language, right? And British people just simply can't say their Irish name, I guess. I don't know. It's just, but it does kind of feel like another, like, not so subtle dig.
Flag, a Hezbollah flag. He said it was something that had been thrown on stage at the time. He is not a supporter of Hezbollah or Hamas. But 6 months later, a terrorism charge was brought because, of course, Hezbollah is a proscribed terrorist organization. In the end, the decision was made that that actual charge was brought essentially a day late, and so the case was thrown out. And the reason I'm standing here is there was a very large number of supporters here. There's just the final few here this morning. They've been here supporting the band Kneecap and Liam O'Hana, and throughout it all. And he came out, and it was a huge crowd of people this morning, and spoke on stage saying this was not anything about what they were doing. This was all about their support for Gaza and Palestine, and saying this was a politically...
It's true. That is precisely the reason why this became an issue. And if you want to understand a similarity from my own personal experience, for example, me fucking interviewing a Yemeni dude became a major point of contention months after the fact, when people were like, oh, this is an avenue that we can attack this person and maybe even attack the entire platform of Twitch for not punishing this person. That's not how that works, right? Nobody gave a shit when I first conducted the interview, and in the interview, the person that I interviewed, Rashid al-Haddad, said that he was not a member of Houthi, even though the Houthis were not a prescribed terror organization. No, okay, pick it. Even though the Houthis at the time were not even a prescribed terrorist organization, a state terrorist organization at that point, regardless. And even if they were, it's still a First Amendment protected act to interview a member of the Ansar Allah movement. So you can't get upset about that. You can suck my dick if you get offended about that. In any case, people lost their minds months after the fact. They try to make a big deal out of it. They try to manufacture outrage around it. It didn't go anywhere, but that didn't stop people from consistently be like, oh, he loves terrorism, he loves terrorism, he loves terrorism. It's the same shit here.
Motivated, but they have had a number of run-ins over the last few months. They have had their visas turned down going into Canada, so they can't tour there. But today, certainly, they were considering this a victory in court.
Yeah, and David, we're just seeing a bit more detail about the chief magistrate there at the
Ireland trip 2026? No, before. I'm either going to go in December or in the upcoming couple of months. I'm going to be in Dublin.
court. Paul Goldspring agreeing with O'Hanny's lawyers, who argued that the Attorney General hadn't given permission for the case to be brought against the defendant when police informed him he would face a terror charge on May the 21st. So as you
Yeah, here is his speech, by the way, which BBC is not showing.
This entire process was never about me. Never about any threat to the public. Never about terrorism. A word used by your government to discredit people you oppress. It was always about Gaza. About what happens if you dare to speak up. As people from Ireland, we know oppression, colonialism, famine and genocide. We have suffered and still suffer under your empire. Your attempts to silence us have failed because we're right and you're wrong. We will not be silent. We said we would fight you in your court and we would win. Today we have. If anyone on this planet is guilty of terrorism, it's the British state. Free Palestine, Chucky Ireland.
BBC not showing the speech, like the day-to-day skit of no. Okay. Let's not. There's too much to cover still, so I'm going to move on from this. But
say that
I'm going to
technical
finish this
issue
article
over
and
the
then
timing
and then
of
we're going
this.
to move
In
on.
his judgment, Mr. Goldspring said these proceedings were instituted unlawfully and are therefore null. And on that point that you were alluding to, David, of where music and politics cross, I mean, what are we likely to see on that front? Because Kneecap now right at the forefront of that discussion.
Very much so. A band formed, I think, back in 2016. They have, as a consequence of these legal difficulties, they have certainly attracted a large amount of extra attention. People aware of their music. Of course, they had the film, sort of semi-fictionalized account of their birth as a band, won a BAFTA award. So they have attracted a great deal of attention, both for their music and for their politics, and this has certainly sort of brought them center stage. They've had to postpone their touring in America as well because of this legal issues. But you only had to see the crowd when they were playing in Glastonbury this year. You realized, you know, all the questions have been raised about whether or not it should be live streamed by the BBC. It was recorded, then played out later. So there was essentially. They have certainly drawn a huge amount of attention because of all of this. And today, when you saw them arriving with a huge crowd of press photographers around them, and this place, christened Kneecap Hill today, absolutely filled with hundreds and hundreds of people. We are out in Woolwich Crown Court. I mean, it's not the centre of London. And when they were at Westminster Crown Court, I mean, they stopped the road. They stopped a part of London. So certainly this has drawn a huge amount of attention.
Anyway. Now you got Jennifer Lawrence being like, yep, it's a genocide, when asked the question. As Zaid Jilani says, saying this as recent as 2 years ago would have gotten you dropped by agents, blacklisted by major studios. Overton window is shifted enough where white bread mainstream actors can now say it. Jennifer Lawrence, does anyone have the video? I want to watch it. Here.
An actress.
Jennifer Lawrence speaks up for Palestine at the San Sebastian Film Festival. Let's take a look at what she had to say.
In a festival, but outside here, the other day there was people protesting for what's happening in Palestine. Kids are dying. Not only kids, but kids.
Remember, the scumbags like Scarlett Johansson, who was asked, "Do you want to keep being a UN ambassador, or do you want to keep getting a fucking SodaStream sponsorship, which is a BDS company? It's an Israeli company." Those people thought that they could forever be popular if they stood by Israel. Okay? They thought, they miscalculated. They thought that as long as they maintain support, things are going to get better again. They were fucking wrong. They saw how much support Israel got after October 7. They were confident that it would continue. It was Oxfam, not UN, sorry. They thought that they could keep up the censorship regime. They thought that they could keep contextualizing the violence that Israel was engaging in. Okay? The mainstream media thought they could keep up appearances in the same fucking way that they had done so in previous Israeli sieges on the Gaza Strip. So many people did not exhibit the moral courage in that moment. So many people were utterly terrified of losing their jobs, and they either kept quiet or worse, stood by Israel, knowing full well that it was going to be a genocidal conquest once again. They were fucking wrong.
Kids are dying in Palestine, but also they're dying in Ukraine and in other countries. I would like to ask you how worried you are for the future of our kids and your kids. Thank you so much.
I'm terrified, and it's mortifying. What's happening is no less than a genocide, and it's unacceptable. I'm terrified for my children, for all of our children. On top of everything else, what makes me so sad is that this disrespect and the discourse in American politics right now is going to be normal to them. I mean, the kids who are voting right now at 18, it's going to be totally normal to them that politics has no integrity, politicians lie, there's no empathy, and everybody needs to remember that when you ignore what's happening on one side of the world, it won't be long until it's on your side as well. And I wish that there.
She's a fan of the Blowback podcast. She read the New York Times op-ed that I wrote. Yeah, that's what happened. She saw that. She's a big fan of Amy Cesar. That's what it is. She's been reading Fanon.
There was something that I could say, something that I could do to fix this extremely complex and disgraceful situation that breaks my heart. But the reality is,
I don't think it's courageous to call it a genocide now. In fact, if they don't call it a genocide now, they will just lose their jobs and get boycotted by the people. I think that that Miss Rachel's statement on that was correct. It's getting to a point where you will be punished for not calling it a genocide. You will be seen as a genocide denier. We're not fully there yet, but like I said, every bit counts, okay? Every instance counts. Every time someone comes out with a prominent platform and says, this is a genocide, this is unacceptable, okay? It matters. Jennifer Lawrence said, Amy Schumer's choice to use her voice to speak for justice puts her under immense fire. I wouldn't say she navigates it so much as she throws her middle fingers up and walks away from negative comments like a gas station fire in a Michael Bay movie. That was on April 30th, 2024. Read this as a welcomed tide shift. Jennifer Lawrence was literally supporting the Nazi actors and comedians in the end of 2023 and the first half of 2024. I know. I'm not saying she's a fucking fedayeen. She's going to strap on the banner of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine and get into the front of the fucking flotilla, okay? Just take it in stride. Take it in fucking stride. That's it. Wow, you mean to tell me that a rich, out-of-touch Hollywood actress has now read the room and realized that a statement that she would have made, such as this one, only a couple months ago would probably still cause so much backlash that she would literally fucking lose her job? This is like moist critical, okay? You know how I say moist critical is my normie meter or my centrism meter? Like, this is like moist critical coming out and making a video and being like, guys, the McFucksticks over there in Israel are obviously doing a genocide, and we got to put a stop to it. It's like they're melting babies over there. I can't believe it. You know, I put my black t-shirt on instead of the white one today because I wanted to talk about the severity of the crisis at hand. Like, when you see that, when you see the Gaza situation is crazy YouTube video, know that things have changed so dramatically that people are no longer fucking fearful. Okay? That's it. That's what it is. That's what this is. Because remember, use me as a measuring stick if you want to. For the last fucking year, when I was saying this shit, the reaction from all the apolitical normies was, how dare you say this? You're a fucking terrorist. You're a fucking Islamist fundamentalist. You're a terrorist. Why don't you go and die in Gaza? Over and over again. Those fucking cries have quieted down quite a bit, haven't you? Haven't you noticed? Why? Because those fucking normies also have recognized that they were wrong, okay? What happened? Where are those motherfuckers at now? Where are those motherfuckers at now? Where are they at? I promise you, it's happening a lot faster than one would expect. It's happening even faster than I expected. I understand that change takes time, unimaginably long periods of time with tremendous amounts of torment. I said this, they went especially hard on you to preempt the wave change. Yeah, they did. They did. Fuck it. I don't even hate the motherfuckers that did that. As long as they now take it to the streets, that's fine. That's fine by me. Okay. Maybe others are not so understanding and I can't shit on them for it. I know plenty of you will never forgive and never forget, but I know that there are external pressures always, right? There's always external pressures. That's why you got to take these fucking things in stride, okay? It is what it is. That's why I always told you, just keep your head down, keep pushing. Your cause is just. Here we are. And the same goes for every fucking thing that this administration is doing at the domestic level as well. It's not just about the genocide over there. It's about the fascism over here too. For the first 9 months of this administration, every single person in our immediate vicinity, in the space that we occupy, were so fucking terrified of saying something because they were fearful of the repercussions. This created an environment where only right-wing voices were heard. That's why I was fucking out here 1v25ing motherfuckers, because the only people that spoke were right-wingers that said, this is all awesome. ICE deportations, sign me up. I'm going to do fucking Pokemon hunts. And anyone that spoke out at that time would be pushed aside, would be fought back against, would get doxxed, would get fucking harassed endlessly. So it created an asymmetry. You didn't get to hear, for the apolitical people on the outside looking in, it created this false sense of security and a false sense of popularity for right-wing ideals and right-wing values. I tried behind closed doors to talk to people, to say, look, you guys have to say something. I know you don't agree with this shit. You have to fucking say something. They didn't because they were worried. I don't fault those people for being fearful. The expectation from me was never going to be for those people to just like put themselves in the fucking crosshairs in the line of fire. But we are here now. So find that courage within you. If you're watching, if you're a content creator, if you're an artist, find that courage within you now, because we do have the numbers. Okay? Yeah, in 1983, 50 companies controlled 90% of the US media market. That number is now down to 5. The reason why I get so fucking mad at the anti-Semitic trope, Jews control the media, is not only because it like obviously is telltale bigotry, telltale sign of fascist theory, but it's also wrong. These motherfuckers don't own these companies because they're Jews, dumbass. They own these companies because they're capitalists, okay? And all of the other fucking CEOs under all of the other owners are also fucking capitalists. That's it. Capital owners are aligned on one thing and one thing only, the continuation of profits. Richest person on the planet is Elon Musk. He's South African. Why is it Elon Musk and Larry Ellison, who is Jewish, are directly aligned on every single issue? Even on Israel, even though Elon Musk is anti-Semitic, but totally fucking aligned on Israel. How does that work? Why does that work? One must ask that question. Is it because of like Jewish mind control? Or do you think there's perhaps another reason? No, yeah, that's why it's so funny when like Nazis will be like, nah, he's a secret Jew. Or they'll say, oh, well, that person married a Jewish person or is secretly Jewish. Bill Gates probably is the funniest version of that. These guys just like, because of the overall refusal to recognize this from a materialist framework, the overall refusal to recognize this from an anti-capitalist framework, people would rather believe that like Bill Gates is Jewish because it fits with the Jewish control conspiracies than to fucking recognize that there is no monolithic structure beyond class. And even then there can be obviously traitors of one's class as well. Very few in the billionaire class, obviously very few in the capital owning class, but can happen. Anyway, are you fighting anti-Semitic tropes right now? I was told you're a raging bigot by my favorite YouTuber. Your favorite YouTuber has probably leaned into anti-Semitic tropes a lot more in the process of calling me an anti-Semite, like saying all Jews are Zionists. Why the fuck are you anti-Zionist? That means you're anti-Jew, you're anti-Semitic. As though that would somehow change the equation, by the way. Like if virtually, it's a falsehood anyway. But if virtually every single Jewish person was like, I love Israel, I love what Israel is doing, what do you think I would be like, oh, well, I guess I can't. I guess I can't actually criticize Israel any longer out of fears that I might be called anti-Semite. Like, what are we talking about? I know that person was joking. I know.